Hey everyone, real quick intro here. I'm doing a couple commercial jobs on this video, and what I wanted to let you guys know is there's a lot of guys out there that I don't have the money to buy the Orbot Vibe, or I don't have the money to buy a Cymex machine to do really good commercial cleaning. And I'm just going to tell you don't have to. With commercial, you can get started with a pump-up sprayer, a vacuum cleaner, and a used floor machine. So for less than $1,000, you can be doing effective commercial cleaning. So don't feel like you're watching these videos and everybody's using the oscillating machines and the Cymexes and all these machines that maybe you can't afford. Some of you can, and that's great. You can do effective cleaning whatever you decide to use, but you don't have to have it to clean effectively. So watch how I clean these with just a floor machine, a sprayer that I put together, and a vacuum cleaner. That is it. So if you guys can scrape together enough money to have just those few things, or maybe you already have them and you just want to get into commercial and you don't know how, this video will show you how. We'll go right into the video and I'll show you exactly how you can clean effectively with a base system. Nothing fancy, just go in and clean, and you can make your customers happy, you can make a ton of money, and that's it. So let's get into it and I'll see you soon. All right, so here we are at my commercial job in the evening. We're at a dentist office, actually two dentist offices. We're gonna do one that's on the bottom floor and one that's on the top floor. Tonight I'm here with one of my sons, Luke. Say hi, Luke.
Hi.
And he's gonna be doing his homework while I'm working, so let's do a quick walkthrough. So this is it here. I'm about ready to start vacuuming. It's not too bad, but we do have some spills here. Some areas that the mat and the secretarial staff really gets pretty hammered. And in this little area here, there's a pretty tiny office as far as what's on the carpet, but we do the tile as well. So that boosts up that total, and I do this whole building. So throughout the year, everybody does it about a couple times, so it does add up over time. This is actually my lowest per square foot that I charge. For this building I charge 15 cents, and I charge 15 cents because I'm not steaming it. I am going to do an encapsulation clean. If you haven't seen that or done that in the past, it is really one of the only ways to go for a commercial clean, and I will show you exactly how that works. One of the most important things to do when you're encapping is to make sure that your vacuum is, when you're vacuuming, it's going to be done really thorough. So the one thing about encap is you'll learn that it's not actually designed to remove soil initially. So it works on absorption, it works on encapsulating the soil. So as it's working, it's going to encapsulate the dirt and the soil that's in the carpet, and it will encapsulate it into a little polymer or plastic, or more or less a liquid plastic bubble or a crystal. So what it's going to do is going to encapsulate it, and then as that happens, it's crystallized. It neutralizes the detrimental effect of the soil in the carpet and allows it to be removed by the janitorial staff or by whoever is going to be vacuuming that carpet in the weeks to come. And as a side benefit, it makes the carpet less sticky, so it doesn't grab the soil as much as it normally would if you didn't have an encapsulation on it. And in addition to all that, it works really, really well to remove things like the streak here, and to remove things like the wear around the desk mat here, and to bring that back to a level that is acceptable. A lot of people don't like to do encap because they don't trust it. I don't know how it works. I don't want to use it because I don't think it's removing the soil. I can guarantee you it's doing an effective job. I've tested it over the last 15 years to see exactly how well it does. I've cleaned churches and areas multiple times, and then as a follow-up, shortly after I do an encap, I did a steam clean just to see, okay, am I removing soil, or is it just like an old style, used to be an old style bonnet cleaning or dry cleaning with an old chemical process, and you would do that a couple times or do a chem dry a couple times, and then you clean it with a steam clean, and it would be a day and night difference. It is not like that with encap. With encap, when I steam after I've encapped 3, 4, 5, even as many as 8 or 9 times, the encap area does not get cleaner when I do a steam clean, which tells me that that soil is in fact neutralized. It is in fact removed through the process of vacuuming over the weeks to come, and it is effectively keeping that soil at a lower level, because if I steam cleaned it, it would have that tendency to get just a little bit dirty a little bit quicker. But when it's encapped, I've noticed that it in fact does take a little bit longer to get dirtier, because it's that encapsulation product is coating that fiber and effectively making it a little less sticky. So after I get done vacuuming here, we'll start applying the product and show you exactly how it works. I'm going to go over a couple times with the vacuum and make sure all these dirty areas are removed, as much of the dry soil as we can. We'll be left with that oily soil that gets in these offices on the secretarial staff's feet, or from paper and toner in the air, and just all kinds of stuff that gets in the offices. So you'll get to see how well this process works, and it works extremely well. So let me finish vacuuming and then we'll get on it. There's a couple ways you can apply this product. You can use a pump-up sprayer, you can use a hydroforce. I use this system here, which is simply a pump rigged to pull out of a 5-gallon bucket, or any container really. I do have a 30-gallon container on a cart as well, I use for really big encap jobs. And then I've got my 50-foot of hose. It plugs right in, and then we're going to spray it down with just a wand tip. So that is right here. So all I do is turn that on and then start spraying. So let's do that right now. I'll catch up in a second. So here we are spraying, and when you spray an encap down, you want to get it damp but not soaking wet. Now, areas that are a little dirtier, you can get it fairly wet. It's not that big a deal. This will dry fairly quickly because we're not adding a lot. I got 5 gallons mixed, and I'm not going to use 5 gallons in this area. I'll probably use 3, maybe 4 gallons on this entire thing, where if you steam cleaned, you can use far more than that. So just make sure that you're getting all those areas. If you see a really dark spot by a desk, make sure you get it sufficiently wet. I shouldn't say wet. Make sure you get it sufficiently damp. You don't want it wet. So it's just a fine line of how much I want to put down on the carpet. It really depends on how dirty it is. If it's really, really bad, I don't mind getting it on that verge of getting wet. And then we're just going to work our way through this area. Hi, Luke.
Hi.
And get this all ready to, now I'm conditioned to say extract, but we're not extracting this. We're going to encapsulate it. So all we're going to do is add agitation to it. And we're going to agitate it and agitate it some more and agitate it some more, and then all of these areas, all of these spots and spills and streaks are going to go away. It's almost like you're erasing all the dirt from the carpet, when really we're encapsulating all the dirt in the carpet and rendering it ineffective and, in a sense, invisible, because you're not going to be able to see it. I'm going to go to this area is the worst area in this office. I don't know what they do here in this particular corner, but it always looks bad. Now, they blame this streak on janitorial staff. I am not convinced that it's janitorial staff, because I've seen my fair share of secretarial staff that has a dribbly cup or spills something or dribbles something throughout, and then they always blame the janitorial staff. They get a bad rap. So let me finish spraying this down and I'll get back to you in just a minute. All right, so we got here is 2 ways to do this job. One is with an absorbent pad, and I prefer the ones with the lines, especially for incap, or a scrubbing pad. This is what I will be using, a scrubbing pad. Typically, this is what I use on 95% of these jobs. If you feel like I just have to have some absorption, go ahead, use that. It's just not as aggressive. Or if you have a cut pile in an office, you want to use that as well, and that way it keeps the agitation level low. You might ask yourself, why do I do this on this building especially? Well, this is why. Because it's 2 stories, it's big, upstairs, downstairs. I really don't want to route hoses upstairs. I used to a lot on this building, and since incap has become this kind of the standard, this is the way I clean. So on almost all my commercials. So here is what it looks like when you're doing it. Just make sure you go over that area as best you can. You want to take your time and just go over and erase all those areas. Ride the wall just like you would normally scrubbing carpet. And just slowly go over these areas. Now, places where we have rolling traffic aren't going to look perfect no matter how you clean it, because it's got damage from the wheels. However, if they have a mat down, you can make that line where the mat is hitting the carpet, and you pull that mat up and it's clean as could be under the mat and dirty right next to the mat in that square. You can nearly always remove that almost 100% of the time. So as we're going through here, you're going to get to see that line, that streak just disappear right when I go over it. So I'll go here. This is where that streak's at. It's kind of hard to see now. It's already starting to encapsulate that, but all I got to do is go over that area with the streak and it will disappear right away. Now, I don't want you to be afraid to use this technique. Now, when I sell a job of carpet cleaning, especially for a commercial, I don't have to tell them what kind of cleaning I'm doing. All I need to do is tell them I'm going to get a result that they're looking for. Sometimes they'll ask me what type of cleaning you're doing, and I'll tell them I'm going to do a low moisture encapsulation cleaning. And they may ask me what that is, how it works, and all that, and I explain exactly how I explained to you what it is and how it works. But above all, the reasons I use incap in commercial is because, number one, it's low moisture. They can get back on it right away. Like I'm doing this Monday night. So they can get back on that in the morning. Actually, they could get back on it in a couple hours. It'll be totally dry in a couple hours. I only used 2.5 gallons to get this sufficiently damp. And it's about 300 square feet, maybe 400 on the outside there. So it doesn't take much, and that's spread out. That 2 gallons or 2.5 gallons spread out for 300 feet will be dry shortly. 1 hour, 2 hours. Typically, it's going to start to feel pretty dry. And in fact, when I'm doing large areas, I can only spray so much because I have to make sure it stays sufficiently wet for the 15 minutes it takes me to get to the area that I'm going to be cleaning. And it will start to dry out if I spray too much down at one time. By the time I get to that outside of where I sprayed, it starts to get a little tacky on that pad. If that happens, make sure you stop. You do not want to run a dry pad over carpet. So make sure you watch out for that. You'll feel the pad getting grippy. It'll start to drag on you and pull on you. So you want to make sure that you don't do that. So if it gets to that point where it's feeling a little dry, just stop, run back, get your pump up sprayer, whatever you're using, and just re-mist it. You don't have to put as much down as you did before, but you want to make sure that you don't run this over dry carpet. Now there were some pretty good spots in here, and they don't have mats in here, so the problem with not having mats is you get that round circle. And like I said, you can't remove that round circle no matter what kind of cleaning you're doing, because it's actually damaged. It's become a shadow. So you won't be able to do anything with that. Now, as we work our way through here, we'll get to that bad area over here. Now I did spray this pretty heavy in that area here. So, but I'll see if I can get a good view of how this looks in a really dirty area in one pass. So you can see there, that dirtiness is just more or less being erased. And we have that circle there again, so we're not going to get that out, but this area that she goes back and forth to her file cabinet on the side there, that's all going to look more or less blended with the rest of the area. Now this is also a product that will look better the next day. So after this is dry, because this carpet gets pretty dark when it gets damp, so as I was spraying it, it was getting fairly dark. So it's going to look like that obviously till it's dry. And then as this starts to dry, you get next to no resurfacing stains. Every now and then you'll get one. If they spill a ton of coffee, you can get some coffee resurfacing. And sometimes if I see a coffee spot that I'm questioning, I will spray it before I leave with some Stain Magic to make sure that it's not going to come back on me. But you can see in this area, this, like I said, was their worst area. And you can tell right away as I went through here that it's no longer that dark area. That streak is gone where they had dribbled something in there. It's hard to tell with the shadows in this area, but man, the difference is unbelievable in some areas. I've done things where I'm going over huge spills of soda and things like that where it's just black spots and they immediately disappear right when you go over them. I mean, all it takes is one pass over the top with the scrubber and they disappear. And all that dirt and sugar is being encapsulated and helps to prevent any resurfacing soil on there. It's less sticky, and keep in mind that the sugar is really sticky, so you end up with a less sticky spot than if you would have steam cleaned, and then you get that wicking that comes up when you steam clean, just like a candle. As it's drying, it's going to come up to the top, and there's nothing to encapsulate it. Well, with an encapsulant, as it wants to resurface or wants to wick back to the top, what happens is it gets caught up in the encapsulant and it gets captured in that polymer or that liquid crystal. As it dries, it's crystallized and it's no longer sticky. So that's the benefit of going through with an encapsulant rather than a steam cleaner, especially on this short nap. I don't typically do dry cleaning in residential, but if I do, I will still do as an encapsulant and make sure that I'm going through with an encapsulant rather than an old-fashioned bonnet cleaner or something like that. So, all right, I'm going to finish up here and I'll be back with you in just a few minutes. So here's a really good area where we have a lot of those dark spots. So let's take a look at how this works on something that looks really bad. So as you can see, even if they're really bad, and I wouldn't consider this bad for Incap, Incap will take care of a spot like that so easy. There were several in here. You can roll the tape back and show how it looked in this area before. So just went over that area a couple times. Those black spots are non-existent now. Just wanted to show you that in a bad area. So when we go upstairs, I'll see if there's any other bad ones we can take a look at. All right, so here's the final walkthrough. Everything looks really good. As always, this is what you can come to expect when you incap jobs. It's quick, It's fairly easy. Sometimes it can go a little slow, because if you have some really bad areas, it can take a little while to get through them, but the fatigue on your body is very little. Running the scrubber after a while gets really easy, a little tedious sometimes, but no problem with that really. So we're gonna head upstairs. There's, you can see that area. Some of it is a shadow from this bad lighting, but you can tell from here it's casting a shadow over to there, but it looks totally different from when I got here, and it cleaned up really nice. So let's head upstairs. So this is the second office. Thought it was a dentist office, but it's just a regular office, but it has some really good matte stains. So we get to see how that looks with an in-cap cleaning. These two in here are the worst. Now some of that is significant. A wear pattern is just flat as a mat in that area, so it'll look better, but it's not coming. We're not going to get that flatness to recover. And then we have the exam rooms in each area right there, and then the doctor's office there, through more or less kind of a little lunchroom area, and then out the exit. So that's it. I'm going to get started. I'm going to spray it, and I'll catch up with you when I'm scrubbing those areas with the matte stains. So here we are upstairs on those spots I told you about. Now it's kind of hard to do one-handed on these because it works best if you put a little bit of pressure by tipping the machine just slightly. Tip the machine on those areas that are really dirty and gives you that really aggressive scrub that you need to make these really look good. And all that is doing, the surfactant in this chemical, is releasing the oils and the dirts and surrounding them in the pre-spray. That pre-spray will dry into a crystal, and you won't have any problems with resurfacing on these spots. They'll just disappear, and you're not going to have any trouble. And I do add a little bit more pre-spray in these areas to make sure that they come clean. But as you can see, the comparison is quite different. So just get right on those edges, go over them a couple times, and then by tomorrow, when they're dry, this is going to look almost perfect. Like I said, they're a little bit dark now because of the wetness, but since they're going to dry in the next couple hours, that wetness will go away. You'll have a little bit of a wear pattern there right on that edge, but it's going to look really good. We got this area here. Let's see how that will turn out. But this is the kind of thing that you can really see, okay, Incap is doing it, is doing the cleaning. Don't let anybody tell you that Incap doesn't work. You just look at that, what I just did here. It just erased that line, and this is a really heavy traffic. It used to look like that, now it looks like this. So use Incap, works extremely well on this. Now I'm going to clean it, and then I'll come back and show you the final. Alright, so here we are, all done. Everything looks good, and you can see I didn't move the chairs, so you can see you can get that machine up and underneath those a little bit. And really the traffic lane is right next to the chair. It's not under the chair unless they have a specific spot that they've done. You know, here we've got that bleach spot that's not going anywhere. And all these areas look really good. Let's see the darkest ones here. Now what you can see is a shadow outside. You can really see it good on film, not so good in person. As that dries, that's going to lighten up considerably. This was the really dark one. Now you can see it's brand new carpet under there. They've had that mat there from day one. Those two dark areas are for the most part gone. And then that's going to dry up nicely overnight, actually in the next couple hours, and it's not even going to be noticeable. These areas weren't even dirty, so they all look good. This one here, like I said, it wasn't dirty, so it looks good. The doctor's office was fine. And in here, there wasn't much of anything. This is a really easy office clean, so just really that front section was the bad area, and everything else was pretty good. So I'm wrapping it up and I'm headed home for the day. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.